These aren't tips I read in a tutorial. Every single one of these is something I learned the hard way. Through bad sessions, unfinished pieces, and a lot of frustrating hours staring at something that wasn't working. Hi guys, I am Zoisk. Today I want to share 5 things that genuinely improved my art. And I'm going to back each one up with proof from my own work. Because anyone can give you art advice, but I want to show you what these things actually look like when I applied them. Let's get into it. Number 1. Build in layers. Don't jump into details before the foundation is solid. This one came from Magyar. I kept rendering one area before the rest of the piece was even blocked in. And then I'd have to redo that rendered area every time something underneath changed. It was exhausting and it produced nothing good. The fix was staying zoomed out until every major form felt right. Primary details first across the whole piece, then secondary, then tertiary. Never letting one area get way more finished than the rest. Look at Magyar compared to Mako and Ophelia. The difference in how the pieces came together is directly tied to this one habit. When I stopped jumping into details too early, the work started looking like a complete piece instead of disconnected parts. Number 2. Detach from the outcome. Mistakes are okay, you can fix them later. I showed this contrast last week. Thea approached seriously, on guard, every stroke felt heavy, burned out halfway through. Vrax approached freely, no pressure, just drawing for the sake of it, turned out better. Same person, same night, same tools, completely different energy, and completely different results. The mindset shift is simple but hard to actually practice. Tell yourself, it's okay. What matters is that it exists right now. I made this so I can fix this. That trust in your own ability to correct mistakes later is what keeps you moving forward instead of freezing up. And honestly, this applies way beyond art. How many things in life do we approach so carefully that we squeeze all the joy and spontaneity out of them and end up doing worse because of it? Number 3. Don't put equal effort on every part of your drawing. This one sounds obvious, but it's one of the easiest traps to fall into. Spending the same amount of time and detail in the background as you do on the focal point, on the parts nobody's really looking at as much as the parts they are. With Mako, I was very intentional about this. The face, the arms, the thigh, that's where the details lives. Everything else got a lighter render, just enough to support the main subject without competing with it. The result is a piece that feels focused, where your eye know exactly where to go. And it saved me hours of rendering time that would have gone into areas nobody would have noticed anyway. Focus your energy where it actually matters. Let everything else support the focal point, not compete with it. Number 4. When something isn't working, study that specific thing. Don't just push through blind. Magyar taught me this painfully. I kept fighting the armor on Magyar without actually understanding how armor construction works. Every session was just guessing and redoing. It was only when I stepped back and specifically studied armor, how plates sit on top of anatomy, how joints work, that I could actually move forward. Pushing through a problem you don't understand doesn't solve the problem. It just exhausts you. Identify exactly what's broken, study that specific thing, then come back. The detour is always faster than the blind struggle. Number 5. Understand values before you worry about color. This one came from my draw through series, specifically when I studied values after realizing my lighting always felt like guessing. Values are just how light or dark something is, completely separate from color. And the reason my lighting felt uncertain was because I kept jumping to color before I understood the light and dark underneath. Once I started thinking in values first, where's the lightest light, where's the darkest dark, how do the midtones connect them, the colors started making sense naturally. By the time I painted Mako, I could feel the values while coloring without having to isolate them separately. That's when I knew it had actually gotten into my instincts. Get the values right, and the color almost takes care of itself. Get the color wrong, and no amount of pretty hues will save a piece with broken values. None of these tips work in isolation. They work together because they are all pointing at the same thing. Being intentional about your process, understanding what you're doing and why, instead of just pushing through and hoping. Magyar is where I learned most of these the hard way. Mako is where they first clicked together. Ophelia is where they became second nature. And whatever comes next, I'm building on all of it. That's what actual improvement looks like. Not a sudden leap, just habits that compound over time. If any of these help, or if you're working through something similar right now, drop it in the comments. I read everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. Coffee link is in the description if you want to support the journey. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.